everybody, my name is Yan, and today we'll be talking about AmpyFin. So AmpyFin is a machine learning trading system that trades while also trading. It uses, for those who are unfamiliar, it uses ensemble learning and it uses a rank system to rank each strategy and give it voting weights. So today, I won't be talking too much about, the functionalities. I think there's already another YouTube video on it. But today I'll be talking a little bit more about the training and the back testing and the pushing process. So, without further ado, let's get started. So I guess the newest feature on version 3.0.1 is we have a control.py so that people could, change the parameters to so that it adjusts to their, trading, I guess, tendencies. So you could change the parameters. The only parameter I wouldn't advise changing is this, unless you really want to tinker with it. But again, you could tinker with it if you want. I mean, not that you needed my permission. The default mode, this should be live so that it doesn't train on accident, but I was testing it today, so well, let's keep it live. So you could test for training purposes. You want to change it to train so that it trains. And we could train, using data from, so I'm going to do it purposefully so that, let's, so that it's like short periods, so that it's a very short period. So let's do, 2003. Let's try, somewhere like long time ago, 2003. Not that long time ago for a lot of users, but let's try doing this from 2003 March 1st to 2003 March 15th. You can specify what tickers you want to use. I'm not going to specify mine. I'm going to try to see how it uses the NASDAQ 100. That's the current NASDAQ 100. So you can specify, if you want to trade, let's say AT&T, you can put the T ticker here. So right now it's in trade mode, 2003 first. Okay, so let's get started. So run training client. So yeah, it says we'll be using this for training. Okay. Okay, so right now, even if it says GHEC is unlisted, I think, let's say app is unlisted, it'll get app from its IPO date to 22 today. So, oh, not today. It's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was yesterday. So, yeah. So yeah, if it doesn't find it, it'll try to download the max data. And right now it's retrieving all the historical data it can from this time period, from the time period that it needs. So, Lulu wasn't there, so download from 2007 max. So yeah, we'll let that run for a little bit while we're running a little bit. We're talking about the control.py. So, you know, I guess features you could specify what stop loss you want, what take profit you want. Um, you know, you could specify what mode you want for time delta. You could say balanced, additive, multiplicative. Um, you know, what you want this train start cache to be, the starting cache for a train client. A lot of these are well documented, by the way, so I'll let you guys explore that on your own time. Uh, so yeah, while this is training in the background, I guess one question I did have, it was a good question. What does training exactly do? So training is what you would, it's like running ranking client as if you were back in 2003, March 1st, and then you just terminated in March 3rd, um, Mar March 15th. Yeah. So this is what it does, the training client. It's like as if you start period start and end in period end. Um, yeah, that's that. The testing client, the testing part is as if you were running trading and the ranking, right? If when you were in the period start and period end. So that we'll get into that in a little bit. So that's what testing does. And you could push the result, the JSON result into your MongoDB. I'll show that option in a little bit as well. So yeah, we'll let this run for a little bit. And also, I think people did ask me, a lot of people asked me, like why I in particular, as well as my team, why we decided to make it open source. So, um, I think for me, like I learned a lot from people making their projects open source, their trading bots. A lot of people are hesitant about making their trading bots open source because, you can lose your edge. But for me, I learned a lot from other people making their bots public, making their trading systems public. In particular, I guess LumiBot did a great job with that. So I just wanted to keep that legacy going. That's in the lore. I just wanted to continue that legacy. So that's why I decided to make AmpyFin public, and yeah, it's been great ever since. I think right now, if you we'll let that train for a little bit. I think if you do visit the website, I think you could still see the version. By the way, the test AmpyFin it uses version 1.0.2. We'll get that fixed. So it's not entirely accurate, by the way. It's still pretty credible, but it's not using the updated version 3.0.1. Benchmark, you can see, the performance. It's so right now it's 31.93% up in 1.5 months for the year, which is pretty good. This is QQQ's performance as well as SPY. So, and this is what it's currently holding and the live rankings. I think people did ask me if we could add like, its recent buy sell orders. That I think I'll consult with the team, but I'm I'm I'll probably yeah, we'll probably look into that. Okay, so training result is completed and now it has trained. And these are JSON files. So this is what your MongoDB would look like if you were running within that time period that was specified. So we don't have that much time left. Let's actually try test this bot. I don't believe it'll test. We only trained it for like 15 days, but let's try testing it. Let's try testing it in 2019 to 2019. Let's try, a short period. Let's do 06. And this is on test. Yes, make sure the mode is on test. And yeah, we'll leave that empty. We'll let it run. Now we just have to run trading client again, and then it'll now do testing. So yeah. By the way, if you do encounter an error, you say, you might have to install matplotlib and seaborn. We'll get that into requirements so that people don't have to worry about that, but just a heads up. So here we go again. It's downloading all the data that it needs. Mhm. Okay. Also, I think one question I did have. So while this is running in the background, I think one question I did have was if our current version of AmpyFin. So what our team uses AmpyFin? If how do I say this question? So people did ask if the version that we're using is the same as the one that's in the repository, and it's a yes and a no. So what what we currently have is it's similar to what's in the repository. It's like structurally like 95% similar. But I guess the parameters and everything, we've been training it for 2.5 years, so we have, pretty much the ideal, periods, ideal. I guess one thing that is different though is that our training library is using 1 minute tick from Intrudio. Um, but that's pretty expensive. It's $6,000 per year. So that's why we decided to make this big art training open source on a 1 day tick. So it's I guess one thing that is different is this part, the TLib indicator. So currently we have it so that it's simple. We use open, high, close, low OHLSC prices, but our version of AmpyFin that it doesn't use, OHLC. It uses something a little bit more different. Um, it's a little bit more dynamic. I'll say it adjusts, the, like its pricing windows. So, but yeah, That version, it's we don't imagine that we'll be releasing that one, but this also does a great job. I mean, it does well. So yeah. Okay, so how it's running. Okay, so I guess it did a pretty good job. I mean, I did not expect it to do any so good job, but I guess it did a good job. I mean, there's not enough values for Sortina for it to calculate Sortina, but it did calculate the sharp to 9.17, R ratio is 0.57, and the max drawdown is 0 during that time period. Well, yeah, pretty good metrics, I guess. Uh, yeah, so it'll once I mean, ideally, what I would advise is you test different periods with your what you trade in your that's in your JSON. You should test different periods before you push it. Pushing it is, it'll erase what's in your MongoDB unless you save that. So let me say that again. Test it multiple times. Make sure you want to replace, what's in your MongoDB with what's in the JSON, and then push it. Okay. So me particular, I didn't test this one pretty enough, and I have my own version, by the way. Also, by the way, if you're wondering what this is for the ranking. So this isn't, oh no, this is for the ranking. So yeah, this is what it gave. So this is the sharp ratio, everything like that, and yeah, that's pretty much that. If you do want to push, by the way, all you do is mode equals push, and then you will push your training results that's in your JSON file into, your database, your MongoDB. And all you do is just run Mongo, not Mongo. You just have to run Python training client.py again. And then I'm not gonna run it, by the way. I don't want to replace that's what's in my MongoDB. But that's all you have to do. And then it'll push what's in your JSON to your MongoDB. Simple as that. And yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. And yeah, thank you for choosing to use AmpyFin. So yeah, good night.